Hello and welcome. So you may learn really quickly that I don't necessarily do the cards like most or many tarot readers. So I have always been drawn to listening to the higher self. So when I do readings for my clients, when I do tarot cards or psychic readings, I am tapping into the higher self, and I have felt called to begin tapping into the collective higher self because this is, if you're paying attention, you know what this card means. This card, the Eight of Cups, is talking to us about, well, lunar eclipse energy that we just passed through. We're just barely on the other side of it. The lunar eclipse in Taurus, okay? And it has all of us looking at the things that we value, okay? And we know that those are set, okay? We know that the things that we value are already set in stone because they're important to us. We have had many blessings or prayers answered in our life that are resonant with these cups that we have here. And sort of not even sort of, the message that we're all getting right now is to sort of mine, I keep saying sort of. It's not sort of, you guys. It isn't sort of. It's really to appreciate the things and mine the things, the growth, the wisdom, the nuggets of treasures that we have gained along the way in the last 20 years. And now we're beginning a new phase, okay? So we have all been through some really interesting cycles in our life, really refining us into the highest version of who we are, okay? It's really what we're looking for here, what Source is looking for here, what your higher self is doing, is refining you to the authentic version of yourself. And we're hearing this all over the place, the word authenticity, because authenticity is really the only thing that's going to get us to move forward in our life, okay? So here we see somebody who has appreciated the things that they have, and now those are set. You see how they're stacked up? Okay, each one of those cups are stacked on top of each other. They're set neatly and nicely, and yet they feel compelled to continue on with their journey for more, to gather more. And the thing is that we're always going to have more. So what's been going on is as we have received all of the blessings in our life, of many of the prayers have been answered, and we're looking around and we're seeing that, okay, many things are set the way that they are. And I'm having a significant transition to expand upon that. So in this day and age, what we've got going on is a lot more people are living on the planet, all right? And so we have a lot more higher selves asking, and we have, when we ask through challenges, okay, when we ask, higher self answers and has a response in a solution and blessings, right? So we have a lot of focus on Earth right now. We've got a large population. We've got a lot of diversity. We've got a lot of questions being asked, and a lot of people wanting to know, how does it get better? How do I have better in my life? Well, I'm here to say that right now, here we are at the end of 2023, the final quarter of 2023. We are going to experience this upshift that we've been asking for in a more significant way. And that can be really challenging because we've got the North Node in Aries. It's asking for us to be fiercely independent, okay? And then once we're independent, once we know we can settle into that authentic version of ourselves, once we know who we are, we know what we like, we know what we prefer, okay? And we know how to go about our life as an individual, and then communing or collaborating with other people, right? So in this card, this is literally where we are. We just walked through, like I said, that lunar eclipse, okay, and it had us looking at what we value, and now through passion, red in the tarot always means passion. So through passion, we are now, the expanded version of ourselves is going out to embark on a new journey. So when I'm shuffling these cards, what I'm really asking for here is, what is that collective higher self message? What does Source want us to know right now? A lot of truth is being revealed. So it's interesting because we have the South Node in Libra. You know that. Many of you know that. The South Node is about clearing out anything that is standing in your way to fulfill your destiny, your purpose, your mission. Okay, the things that you had intended to achieve in this lifetime when you came down here. Now, the details of that are yours to decide, but there are some parameters that you would set for yourself of things. A destiny is a promise that you made to yourself before you came into this life. So when you were a spirit, when you were a soul, you sort of had this shopping bag and you put these different geometric shapes and sounds. Okay, it was what they would be in their shopping bag, and those were intentions of these parameters that you would have in your life, that you would go through, that you would, in order to bring you to your soul's journey of expansion. Okay, and so we left all these crumbs, we left these Easter eggs all hidden around so that we help us wake up and help us wake up. And we've gone through the massive healing journeys, and we've been doing our work and diving in. And if you're like me, you're like, I know how to do things in a very challenging way. I know the tough stuff. I know the rough stuff. I know the trials and the tribulations, and I have the fortitude. I have the fortitude to get through those. But what I really want now, what we're really ready for, is the easy stuff. Now, how do we navigate easy? Okay, so the first thing that we need to understand is that truth itself, okay, with that South Node in Libra, truth itself needs to be really defined, okay, in a new way. And I did a quick video on this. I posted it on my YouTube channel here, and then also on TikTok. And it was just a real short 1-minute video about truth being redefined and how truth is a unique version, or unique to every individual. Okay? So first of all, truth is unique to you because you have your own path of least resistance. You have your own pathway to achieve the things that you had intended for yourself, and your own lessons in which you had situations that you would put yourself in early on in life in order to retrieve the pure positive from that, the wisdom from that for your own personal growth, right? So you had your own experiences, and now everything that we perceive is going to be filtered through those experiences, and it creates this perception. So in order for your higher self to be guiding you, it must be your path of least resistance. So truth becomes now really, what do you feel good about? Where do you feel enlightenment or joy and happiness? Okay, what sparks you? That's that God spark inside of you of creation. What interests you? Okay, so that's the details of how your fulfillment, your destiny is going to be fulfilled, is based on your preferences that you've decided here in this human body, okay, in this human experience. And so now through the things that you enjoy, the things that you like, the things that you prefer, and noticing those and leaning in that direction, you're going to be able to hear the call from source within you by paying attention to what feels good, okay? And really letting go of that feeling of it has to be heavy, or I've got to keep healing, I've got to keep healing, I've got to keep healing. Here we have the Hierophant, really, okay, the Hierophant, all right, which is blessings. Number one, allowing yourself to simply receive the blessings that you have already prepared yourself for, okay? So if you think about the job of the higher self is to prepare the pure positive out of anything challenging that you've gone through, okay? Holds pure in intention, the desire, a pure attracting power of the desire that you hold within you of what you really want, okay? And so now the Hierophant is the one that is this representation of being able to bring what is divine. What is divine? Divine is something that is undivided, it's undoubted, it's unchallenged by your human resistance. It's absolutely pure. It's divine, undivided. Okay? Think about it, a finely tuned instrument, okay? Now, the Hierophant has his hands in a position to offer you blessings, okay? So what this card represents is we're ready to receive the blessings. We're ready to receive the good stuff. We're ready to receive. And so It's not about the healing all the time, because you can get yourself really stuck in that healing. It's about noticing that healing is going to happen. Healing is going to happen. 8. We have 2 8s now. The 8 of Wands. Okay? So my guides are telling me here, and have been telling me for several weeks, that led to me beginning to do video series consistently, okay? Because it's time to start really letting the good stuff in, you guys, and holding each other's hand to understand that it can be a challenge to let the good stuff in, to go from, well, it's a bridge, really, right? It's this bridge that we're walking across that lets us know that we can be together and yet independent in our journey. We can be together, all right, here for one another. As we cross this bridge to what was tough, what was hard, what had us leaving like, am I even worthy? Am I even doing this right? I don't even know how to do life. To now seeing that it's possible, okay? And now we're crossing this bridge into our own personal truth. Okay, our own personal truth. Based on what? Based on what? Based on how I feel. Okay? We don't have the structures necessarily that we had before, where somebody's telling us what to do all the time. We don't want that. We want to be able to go about it independently. We want to go about our life where we're self-governing. Okay? We're self-governing. We're the ones that are deciding what's best for ourselves, and we want to live that life, right? And we want to be blessed by that. So the only real parameter that we have is knowing that I'm going to get what I'm thinking about, and it's going to be in equal proportion to how I feel about it. That's your parameter, okay? And it can feel really kind of like scary. There's no real boss of me. There's nobody telling me exactly what I have to do. And if you're used to that, if you grew up like I did, where there were structures all around telling you who you were supposed to be and what you were supposed to do and how you were supposed to behave, it kind of feels like a bit of a free fall. And yet it's this enlivened, like I'm so alive. I'm more alive than I've ever been before. But what's my next step? What's my next step? Can I do my next step? Am I able to do my next step? You know, that kind of thing. We're in it together, guys. We're in it together. You're not alone in this, okay? You're not alone. But here's the deal. These 8s are saying, 8s represent personal power and abundance through personal power. We're about to walk into an 8 year. We're coming out of a 7 year, which was very introspective, which was very, like, it was meant to, in whatever way that resonates with you, in the terms that I've seen it, would be my refining my relationship with my higher self, so I know firmly and stably have a stable relationship with that higher self, so that I know how it feels when I am receiving the call from source. I'm absorbing that uplifted energy, allowing myself to sort of bask in the light of it, until then there's enough momentum around that light that I then move forward, or life force energy moves forward through me, okay? And it's in the direction that I desire to go, so because it's resonant with my higher self. How do I know that? Because it's uplifted, okay? An uplifted feeling, all right? So that's what this 7 year has been about, knowing who I really, really am, the core of me, the authentic version of me. Now, as we prepare to move into this 8 year, that is the lesson, or not the lesson. It's not a lesson. That is the wisdom that we're taking with us, okay? That's the wisdom that we're taking with us. It's like knowing who I am and being able to proactively engage in my life, because all of the things that you've desired, they're set. Those arrows are set. You are magic. You are getting it, and the magic is responding in kind, okay? You're getting all that you desired. What is my job? To uplift myself, to allow myself to be uplifted and bask in the glory of good feelings as often as possible. That energy that you absorb that feels really good is extremely intelligent. It knows you better than you know yourself. It knows all of your points of resistance, and it knows how to bring you to the next step that's going to be engaging. It's going to be fun, right? So what are we seeing here? What are we really seeing here? We're seeing that fun plays a very significant role. It's not about weighing ourselves down with expectations anymore. If you've noticed, we've been letting go of obligations, not responsibilities so much as being able to let go of what society has expected us to be, and the codependent patterns that we've had, layer after layer after layer of codependence to behaviors that we have engaged in, where we were weighing ourselves down to help other people feel more comfortable, or manipulating other people because we didn't feel comfortable in our own power. And we believed that we needed to get something from somebody else, whether that's a sense of worthiness from somebody else, or a sense of being able to receive what we want through somebody else's actions, because we didn't know exactly where we stood in our own power. Okay, so here we are with the Hierophant, knowing that you are a divine being of light, giving us the wisdom, the power, and the strength, again, to be able to tap into our authentic self and to divine and realize the things that we have intended, that we've wanted. All right, now we go on about our path. Okay, independently, this fierce independence that we know we're being guided to. Okay, and I want to bring this back just a moment to what happened in this last spring. Okay, so this last spring we had a big what was it? Was it a solar eclipse? I think it was a solar eclipse in Aries energy, which was, I feel like, this massive like burst of life, and it gave us like these daydreams, or this realization, sort of like opened up the possibility for things to unfold that within your creations that you would love to see for yourself. And it felt very, very possible. And then what happened is then we went through a lunar eclipse in Scorpio that started like pulling up all of this like ancestral healing stuff. And then we went through this massive retrograde season where we're like feeling like the rug's pulled out from underneath us, and we're having to reassess, and we're looking at all of our beliefs and our structures again. And then we had this full moon in Aries the end of September, and I felt like that was this massive clearing in either the root chakra or the crown chakra, massive clearing of energies that were stuck, things that we had lodged inside of our energetic, maybe it's our chakra system, that's the way you want to look at it, but stuck in our energy field, and it magnified it big time and was helping to pull that out. It was like a big sliver being pulled out of us, right? And then we go into this like a sun of Libra, where it was like this whole balancing energy, and Libra's looking at you like, I know who you are. I know who you are. I see the real you. I know exactly what you want, and I'm about to be, and she did, okay? I'm about to be not only the judge, but the jury and the executioner of anything that's standing in your way of fulfilling your divine purpose, okay? And so, if you were paying attention, you saw things like, you know what I mean? Like, wow, that's great. That hurdle's been removed, and that hurdle's been removed. And sometimes it was a bit tough, like relationships were tough, and we had to really stand in our own power with now this lunar eclipse in Taurus. It's like standing in like for what you want, with what you value, who you really are, and this ability to just like be me. Just be me without feeling so much like we're defending it, but we are drawing a line in the sand. It's been a really interesting ride, hasn't it been? So now here we are in this Scorpio season. We're in Scorpio season, and in Scorpio season, what we find is ourselves like getting really, really passionate. There's the red. Getting really, really passionate about our lives again, and being able to recognize, oh, now as I've released a sense of old structures not being able to be my touchstones anymore, and I know that it's internal, that is where my guidance system is coming from, where my guidance is, as we're like, okay, I've got me, Source has got my back, my higher self has got my back, I have all of this etherical support, maybe it's physical support around me, and being able to really appreciate that. It's like, now it's time to begin stepping forward with those passion things. But again, it's this bridge, right? We're like, ooh, do I cross the bridge? Wait, because now what's happening? Saturn wants to come back. Saturn, the great teacher, wants to come back and say, hey, try again. Hey, try again. And you're like, I'm a little bit gun shy. I'm not really sure. Do I go forward? We're all feeling this, okay? You're not alone. We're all feeling it. Yes, because those arrows are set. Those arrows are set for you to be able to fulfill what you desire, okay? And it's going to be good, you guys. It's going to be expansive. It's going to hold more prosperity, more love, more of the things that you would love to see, because you're tuning into who you really are. Because Source doesn't have as much to filter through to give you what you want anymore. We've gone through purge after purge after purge to now be left with this, like, guess what? It's now just me and me. I don't have anybody else left to blame. I don't have anybody else to distract me. There's nothing left except me and the joy of my journey, and to receive all of the blessings now. When the space opens up, you may feel compelled. And I urge you to not be hard on yourself as the space inside of you and the space around you opens up on your behalf. I urge you to not be hard on yourself if you fill that space with something old. Because when you do, maybe you're filling it with some negative talk to self. Maybe you're filling it with re-engaging with somebody you know has not been healthy for you. Maybe it's just doing things that you know aren't resonant with where you're going. Through action, through thought, through internal dialogue, through external dialogue. Maybe you're filling that space again with something that's not quite exactly where you know you're headed. It's okay. It's okay. Because everybody takes steps forward and steps back. Everybody does. And what happens is you go, wait a minute. I know how good it feels to fill myself up with that positive energy, that light bath inside. I know what it feels like to feel that good. I know what it feels like to have these fantastic ideas. I know what it feels like on the other, maybe not quite, but I'm getting an inkling of how good it can be. I don't quite know for sure that it's going to happen. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. Because remember, I told you, Source has less to filter through. So it's going to happen. Okay? Maybe I don't know for sure. So I'm going to go backwards a little bit. But what happens is you start recognizing that it's not so satisfying. It's not doing for you. It's not filling up a void for you the way that it had been able to before. And that's the clue that it's not going to last. The stuff that's not working for you, it's not going to last. Because you start looking at this maybe person you let back in your life, or this activity that you re-engaged in, or this negative self-dialogue. It's not as anchored in as it had been before. It doesn't have such a stronghold as it had before. And so it's going to be easy for you to let go and say, you know what? It really is time to say goodbye. You're not alone. We're all walking across this bridge, taking our steps forward, taking our steps back. Taking our steps forward, taking our steps back. It's okay. It's okay. All right, what else does Source have to say with that for us? This one wants to come. Ooh! What was I just saying? What was I just saying about Source is bringing it in? You're a little bit like, maybe. Do I? Should I? Are you as good as you seem like you're going to be? Thing that I'm perceiving etherically, thing that I am just creating in my mind and getting an inkling about. Are you as good? Are you going to be as good as you felt when I felt you or saw you begin to come into my mind's eye, and I started taking those steps forward in that strong Aries energy in the spring? Are you really that good? Well, guess what? It's coming from that. It's coming from that. So, hearts crossed off just a little bit. Maybe a little bit skeptical. Doesn't look like that cloud's really going to go anywhere, though. It looks like he's going to kind of stick around. Looks like he's going to kind of stick around for a little while. Hanged Man. Hanged Man. This is where you give yourself the opportunity to just chill out for a bit. He's not going anywhere either. He's like, you know what? I'm just going to chill. And I'm going to start looking at this through the eyes of Source. I'm going to start looking at things through the eyes of energy. I'm going to see that, I'm going to begin to really understand what everybody's been talking about for so long. And I've even been talking about, and I've been trying to understand or work with, begin to, have the mechanics and behind the law of attraction, right? Where I am manifesting. The first part of manifestation is a thought, okay? And then what does that thought feel like? In order for anything to come into reality, it has to be thought first, right? Okay. So we had that back in the spring. And now I'm going to let myself feel into how good that feels. I'm going to let myself feel into now those details coming as inspired thoughts. See, he has the halo of enlightenment around him, which means that he's allowing inspired thoughts, which is energy, based on how he's feeling, right? Okay, so if he's chilling out and he's relaxing and he's letting fresh energy come into his body, then he's going to have fresh ideas coming into his mind, but he's not in a hurry to make them happen. Really not in a hurry. Not in a hurry. Because you can't force this stuff. You can't rush this stuff, okay? You can only allow life force energy to move through you, and that's by relaxing, chilling out, enjoying, and having fun, right? Okay, so he's over here looking at things like, if I can perceive it in my mind's eye, and I can get inspiration on the next step, I'm solid, I'm good, it's coming, I'm in line with it, I'm aligned with my path, okay? Seriously, guys. I mean, Source is bringing it. Chill out and watch yourself be inspired, okay? All right, so I just want to talk about for just a moment the blue here that he's wearing. We've talked about the passion, okay? He's got the yellow for enlightenment on his shoes, the yellow for enlightenment on this halo right here. But what's the blue about? And that blue is a purification. Purification. So when we let fresh energy into our body by not overthinking, we're purifying ourselves. Source is purifying you, okay? This card is the card of legacy. This card is the card of legacy. This card is a card that says you want prosperity, you want abundance, you want love, you want your material world to reflect all of the work that you have been doing. It's here. It's yours. It's yours. Now it's about learning how to accept it. And that's what I intend to do as I come on these videos each day, okay? And I want to work with you, work with me, work with Source. Let's understand how to really begin to let this come in. And what is it? It's about following through with the inspired thoughts, okay? Not in like, I've got to get this done. Not in a pressured way. Not in a tension way. Not in this age that we had been in that was this like industrialized production. I've got to produce. I've got this idea now to make it happen. And it's on my shoulders to make it happen. If I'm not making it happen, then I'm not keeping up. And if I'm not keeping up, then I can't have what I want, right? That whole bit, right? Okay, so this is not what this is talking about. None of this says that that's the way to go about anything. Okay? It's about divining, purely allowing inspiration into your mind by chilling out, unblocking your heart, allowing it to come in because it's right there. It's hanging out. It's right there. Let the inspiration happen. Now, absorb the feeling of the idea. Absorb the feeling of the idea. Appreciate that you had yourself relaxed enough to receive an idea. Oh yeah, you're going to have stuff that like releases. The better you feel, you're going to have stuff that releases. Don't play into it anymore. Don't play into it anymore. Just be like, yep, that's old energy. There was a valve that released. It was a release valve. The better I felt, the more I laughed, the more I went and got a massage, the more I chilled out, the less pressure I put on myself, the more I enjoyed good conversation, and more I went and had lunch with a friend, the more I just went and had a nice cup of coffee and chilled out and listened to some good music. You know, something like that. The more I did that, the more ideas came to me, and I just appreciate those ideas, and then those ideas began to grow momentum, okay? That light begins to grow momentum inside me, and then it just happens through you. And that what happens through you bursts out to bless your physical reality in ways that you are going to be able to not only sustain yourself, but this is where you're creating what you're going to be able to pass on for generations to come. You know how we're doing the ancestral healing crap, okay, in this lifetime, a lot of that? Well, what if the generations that come after us don't really have so much healing, and the legacy we believe behind is a legacy of love? Did you know that a legacy of love, leaving a legacy of love is the mark of an ascension journey? So what are we seeing here? What are we seeing? We're seeing that through fun, joyful, inspired action and activity, that we are on our own individual divine journey to leave a legacy of love, so those coming after us don't have to heal from our relationships, because we can heal those relationships. Even if relationships have been challenging and hurtful, well, as you heal yourself, you're also healing the timeline of those injuries, right? And we don't have to hold on to them anymore, as we witness, you know, stuff that had been negative come into our memory or pop up in our experience, or we have these negative emotions, negative thoughts, right? We can sort of look at that like it's an outlet. It's letting out. It's just sort of letting out, like this valve that's been released of pressure. Because why? Because we're now filling the pipes with all of this good stuff, all of this good energy. And we're leaving a legacy of love so that the future generations don't have nearly as much healing to do as we have done. So we're really healing ourselves. We're healing future generations. We've healed past hurts by healing ourselves. We're all about to have new experiences because the energies are changing, right? And we know that this Aquarian energy is fast moving, it's youthful, it's vibrant, it's technologically savvy. There's a lot of technology within the Aquarian energy. It is tech happy, and which is pretty cool. We get to learn about ourselves now in a new way, right? It does not saying that it's not going to come with its own set of challenges. But again, here we are, knowing who we are as biological beings, right? Engaging with those technologies that aren't biological. And And we get to learn a whole lot more. But we're also learning here about collaboration, about interdependent relationships. Okay, so this is what this Aquarian energy is. It's going to be what's good for the whole. Okay, are you willing to sacrifice your negative thoughts, your negative emotions, and your negative behaviors? Are you willing to sacrifice that so that you are helping yourself with this call for fierce independence? Are you helping yourself so that you're a benefit to the whole? Are you of benefit to the whole? The only way that you can ever be a benefit to the whole is by being the best version of yourself that's possible in any given moment. Sometimes that best version of yourself is, maybe I'm taking the day in bed, okay, because I just need to chill out. Or maybe I need to say something that I didn't really think that I wanted to say, but maybe it's time to speak up and speak some truth, okay? Energies that we have been holding in our bodies are extremely intelligent. All energy is intelligent. And if you've had things that you've been holding back that you haven't necessarily said, sometimes those things are going to come out. Because truth, we've got truth coming out, right? Sometimes those things are going to be said that you're maybe not proud of how they came out. And that's okay too. That's okay too. Maybe that's the valve that's letting go, that's releasing. So that you can observe that and you can come back to like, okay, I know what I need to do now. I know what I need to do now. I need to communicate a little bit more often, or I need to just pay attention to my needs and take care of my needs before I put everybody else before me. You know, something like that. We have now this call for relaxation inside of our bodies. That doesn't mean that you spend your day meditating. That means that you spend some time meditating. You spend some time tuning into the pure positive energy that's available inside of your body. Because you've felt positive before. So you know it's there. And you decide that that's what I'm going to feel. I make a clear decision. That's what I'm going to feel. And now I begin to, even though this card is somebody laying down, we can still go about our lives in sort of this aligned meditative state where we're tuned into source energy and we're receiving those nuggets of mentorship and wisdom from our higher self. Okay? But it does require us to spend some time meditating, at least in the morning for a few minutes, and then carry ourselves forward, because if you see this person's getting a blessing out there, because when you get up, you want to be prepared to receive those blessings. When you go outside, when you carry on with your day, you want to be able to be prepared to receive those blessings. Okay? So I suppose what we're talking about is giving ourselves grace. Grace is all of the space that lets you have every feeling that you're having. Every feeling that you're having. And completely accept what you're feeling. Because when you go into complete acceptance for what you're feeling, not carrying on about the story around it, but completely accepting everything that you're feeling, you will watch it quickly dissolve if it is not in tune with your higher self. Okay? So we're talking about fun. We're talking about quieting your mind. We're talking about moving about our day in a meditative state. And we're talking about grace. To feel. When I'm going on about my day, I have a gaze, an internal gaze at all points, all time. Now, sometimes I try to hold back what I'm feeling because it's it's been a habit, right? For the way that we've shown up in the world. We can't say what we want to say at work or with our loved ones always, or it's just not, we can't always behave and say what we want to say. So we've learned to kind of stifle it, right? But as I've taught myself over the last several years. And if you've been doing your healing journey, you've been teaching yourself over the last several years to have a gaze, inward gaze on your emotional state, and to give yourself, maybe you're in a conversation and somebody's saying something that's really triggering to you. And you can take a breath and you can be present with not only the conversation, outside conversation, but you can be present with the trigger inside of you and let yourself have complete acceptance for that trigger inside of you. And let that dissolve when you just watch it. I see you. I'm aware of you. Again, if something is triggered that you have been stifling for a long time, that intelligent energy around that may come out. It may come out right now, and that's okay. That's all right. But if you can more and more and more often have that inward gaze where you're present with your emotional state of being, you can just accept in any moment how you're feeling and watch it dissolve, and watch now you come back to that conversation with an uplifted energy, okay? Because now once it's dissolved, there's now more space inside of your body for more life force energy, okay? And that life force energy will bring about this more charismatic or more interesting, or more engaging, more interested, more curious version of you. Those are all marks of being in tune with your higher self. Interest, curiosity, cleverness, laughter. These are all marks. Okay, so here we are. Page of Swords. Page of Swords. What is she talking about? Or he talking about? I don't know if it's a guy with a man bun, or maybe it's a guy with a man. I'm not sure. But this young person, youthful energy. Was I just not talking about that with this Aquarian energy? All of us are feeling more and more and more youthful. Okay, so this youthful person is standing on this fertile ground and is wielding clarity, ushering in a new perception. Okay, so when we're talking about swords, we're talking about mental constructs, mental suits, okay, thought processes. This person is ushering in new perception around what's possible for you. So we were doing that whole hanged man thing where we were allowing ourselves to chill out and let ideas. Now we're seeing here, we're on this journey of leaving a legacy of love. Very prosperous journey, okay? Spirit is very prosperous, okay? Again, quieting our mind. And what we talk about? We talked about quieting our mind and aligning ourselves with our higher self, okay? And having this sort of meditative state of being as we move through our day as often as we can without being hard on ourselves about it, okay? But now we begin seeing a lot more through that higher lens. Clarity. Clarity precedes all success. So, this Page of Swords is saying that you're now going to have this clarity more and more often to usher in a new age, when you have a new perception, it's a new engagement in life. So things that you had been engaged in previously, you're going to be engaging them with this sense of clarity, with this sense of liveliness, with this sense of youthfulness, with vitality. And you're going to see things that you hadn't necessarily seen before. The more positive that you are, the more that you allow positive to be your way of being, you start getting these recognitions of things that have even occurred before that you had a perception around. It's like this breath of fresh air around an old perception. That's what it is. It's a breath of fresh air around an old perception, something that I had seen only one way before. Now I'm looking at like, oh, it was never that way to begin with. I only saw it as a negative, but it was a good thing. It was a positive thing. I don't need to be hard on myself about that, because everything actually is working out. Depending on what lens you're looking through, everything's working out for your benefit. Everything has a positive side to it. everything. You'll be able to see that. You'll be able to see that, okay? You'll be able to see that. Whoa. We got cards flying all over the place. One moment here. Okay. Aha. Oh, okay. So, okay, here now we have the Knight of Pentacles. The Knight of Pentacles. I love this. Okay, so here we are at the end of October, okay? October 31st. And I have just been hearing about, okay, because I hadn't really looked into this stuff before, but I've been hearing about, and I don't know the word, I apologize for it, but it is the like witches, white witches, they and I'm not sure if it's pagans, maybe. Again, I apologize. No offense to anybody, but I'm hearing about this, and I think, wow, this is fascinating, about planting your seeds of desire on October 31st, and then dreaming about them. You guys will in the comments tell me what the name of this tradition, or this what's the word, ritual. The name of this ritual is, because it's absolutely fascinating to me. Okay, so because the Knight of Pentacles is like, he's stopped. He's been through the fight, which means, and he's got his face plate open there, right, on his helmet. He's not guarding himself anymore. Now he's seeing clearly through the lens of inspiration, because we have, again, this enlightenment of the yellow, okay, about his material world. He's planting his feet because he knows clearly what it is that he wants, and he is going to fertilize that ground with those seeds of what he wants to see come into fruition. Okay? Perfect. This is perfect. This is perfect. Remember I told you that we're all going out and we're getting more, we're expanding on what we already had? Well, you're going out, but then it never stops. It never ever stops, because you know that the universe expands based on what expands the universe is the use of energy. So that's why we have to keep up with our higher selves. That's why we have to keep up with the expanded version of ourselves. Okay, and you can only do that through positive energy. All right, so keeping up with the positive version of ourselves, we're always going to be planting more seeds. We're always going to be having more desires. We're always going to have more to harvest, right? Continual harvest and appreciation for what we're harvesting as we're planting more seeds, and we're continuing to harvest, and it's this continuous, joyful, ever-expanding journey, okay, is what your life is meant to be. If you're listening to Abraham, you've heard that a million times. This ever-expanding, joyful journey is what your life was meant to be. We know the tough stuff. Guys, we know the tough stuff. Enough. Done. Okay, we're not doing this tough anymore. Now, what's our mantra? I prefer easy. I prefer joyful. I prefer lightness. Okay? I prefer lightness inside of my body. I prefer expanse. I prefer abounding, bountiful. I mean, abounding would be outward. Bountiful would be plentiful. And abundance, so much. Receiving. Because the more not receiving in like this greedy, unsensatiable way, but the more I allow myself to receive, think about that. The more experiences that I have, the more I'm able to experience and have and do and be in life, the more wisdom I gain, the bigger I get, the more I go out and have to offer the world. That's the expanding universe. Okay, so in final words here, what, well, that's, okay, All right. So we've talked about having joy for the journey, right? We've talked about being present with your emotions and allowing them to dissolve and not being hard on yourself, no matter how your truth is coming out right now. And when I'm talking about like speaking your truth, understanding that it's not your job to expect anybody to see anything through your lens, because again, we're going to go back to truth is a personal journey. It's your resonance with source, okay? Truth is just your resonance with the source inside of you. It's just a feeling. And then it's an action. And then it's your life. And then it's your material world. Okay? So, being present with our emotions. She is the most emotionally aware queen in the deck. She is heart-centered. She is in love with herself. She is in love with her kingdom. She is in love with everybody. Everybody. You're not always going to be able to be in love with everybody, but can you be in love with your journey? Can you be in love with the feeling? Simple. Let's keep it really simple, okay? Let's not bite off the whole apple all at once. One bite, okay? Can I be in love with the feeling of an idea? Because if you can do that and not try to force yourself to take action when you're not ready, and if you're not feeling great when you take action, you're not ready. If you're feeling forceful, you're not ready, okay? That's not in truth. It's not in resonance. It's not in harmonic resonance. That undivided, remember we talked about undivided, undoubted, unforced. It's not heavy, okay? That purity of divinity around your desires is a fine-tuned instrument string, making this beautiful sound, this harmonic resonance. If you want something to come into your life that you have not seen, the answer is always one thing. Can you feel love for that thing or that person or love in general, whatever it is? Whenever you think about that thing, can you make a decision that you will only think about it through a loving heart? If you're not able to think about something that you desire through a loving heart, think about something else until you can. Because it is through your loving heart, pure positive energy, that anything can happen and move forward. It's only through positivity that anything can change. I want to say this very clearly. I want to say this in resonance, right? Because we see change happening, but it's really more of the same. Things keep happening, but they're more of the same. So if we want real change, real change, something different, something new, we can only think about it through love, from a loving heart. I hope that was helpful for you. Like I said, I'm asking for source messages to support us through letting more of the good stuff in, crossing over this bridge to this personal self-empowerment and very abundant year of 2024. Watching this rain of blessings happen in our life and being able to navigate that. So I hope this was helpful. All right. I love you guys. Enjoy your day. And don't forget to laugh. Have some fun.